Hello, welcome everybody, it's Diorama Don here. I made a video a few weeks ago now on making corners of buildings. When you're modelling a building, corners are notoriously difficult to do. So this is just another suggestion. Before we get going, please subscribe to the channel, click that like button. You'll be informed when new videos come along. Of which there are very many. I believe there are something like 110 videos now that I've made. So anyway, let's get into it. I normally use 2mm cardboard for my buildings. So this is just a test piece. So let's assume then that this is the building that we're modelling, and we want to put a decrepit, not decrepit, what's the word I'm looking for? Falling down, oh, I can't think of the word. But anyway, this is what we're going to do. So cardboard is a very cheap material to use, but it's not very good for painting or putting anything on as it is. So we need to put a base coat on first before we can do anything really with it. So I use wall putty or wall filler, just the stuff you use to fill in cracks in a wall, very cheaply bought from DIY stores. Doesn't cost much money at all. Then rather than use it straight out of the tub, I just add a little bit of water so that you can use it as a thick paint rather than the filler. So the first thing we do is give it a coat of this stuff. I probably won't it's not easy to do whilst looking through the lens of a camera. There we go, I'll just do one side. So now when this is dry, we no longer are dealing with cardboard. We're dealing with a base coat that we can now do all kinds of things with. So I'll do the other side, let it dry, and I'll come back for the next bit. So here we are 10 minutes later, and the filler is completely dry now. It's only just a thin coat anyway, so it doesn't take very long to dry. Then what we need is some grey coloured grout. This is the stuff that goes between ceramic tiles. Again, from your DIY store. You don't need hobby shops, you need DIY stores. Very cheap, very inexpensive tile grout. So mix some of that together with a little bit of water and a little bit of PVA glue to make it stick even better. And then mix it up to that kind of consistency. Not too runny, or it won't stay on the piece that you're working on. In fact, that might be a little bit too thick at the minute, but it doesn't matter. You can add water to it. But oh no, that's okay. So now put this on over the top of the filler, not on your thumb. And build it up to about 2 or 3 millimeters thick. It needs to be fairly thick. There we go. Again, looking through the lens of a camera, it's not the easiest thing to do. Okay, I'll do the other side in a moment. But that's what we need. It doesn't need to look pretty at this stage. You can there. That's not too bad anyway. Now that's a good. I don't know if you can see it. That's a good 2 millimeters thick, which is what we need. Now we're going to have to wait for this a little longer. This is going to take maybe an hour, maybe longer. But if I touch it now, it'll stick to my fingers, and obviously it's wet. But after an hour you're able to touch it without it being sticky. Then we can come back and we can carve out the shape of our stones or bricks, whatever we want. So I'll do this side, come back in about an hour's time when it's prepared enough to mark out the stones in this case. Okay, so I will be back and I'll go and clean my hands. Okay, so here we are about 45 minutes or so later, and I've marked out one side, and I'll just show you what I do on this side. Again, not easy. Looking through the camera lens, oh, it's going to be impossible in fact. So once I've got the lines of the stone from that side, then I'll pick up on the same line on that side, and I only just need a light line, if you like. It doesn't need to be that thick. And just then mark out I'm holding my breath while I do this, but I can't do that forever. There we go. So now we've got lines that follow through, and then this is just a barbecue stick with a sharpened end, and then all I do then is mark out the shape of the brick. I'll try to do it so you can see better. It will kick up a burr. There will be stuff, but don't worry about that, because given another hour or so we can just scrape all those bits off. That's perhaps a better example, that line. But these can be stones or bricks. Personally, for bricks, I like to make my own and stick those on. But for stones, I think this is a better idea. And they can be uniform like this in a straight line, or at random, like you might find on a castle or something like that. But you can mark out what you like, whatever design you want. So you can see this is going to take a little while to do. Are you able to see this? I'll just do this line. So now that's what we've got now. It looks pretty rough like that, but like I say, after an hour or so, that given a little more time to dry, now we've got the shape of the stones, the air can get in between and it will dry a lot faster. So another half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I can get rid of all these bits and burrs and what have you, and shape it a lot better. But that's all I'll do for the moment. So I'll carry on down there and wait another 45 minutes or so, and we'll come back and see what to do next. So my bricks are dry now. This has been about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours for it to dry off properly. Before they dried, you can sculpt more accurately the shape of a stone. You can take out all that rough stuff that came up when you initially marked out the stones, get rid of all that, and then you can just take the corners off and sculpt each stone like that, so it makes it look a lot better rather than just square stones. So okay, it's dry now, so I've mixed some more grout, a different colour this time, again with just a little bit of water and a little bit of PVA glue, and that will now act as the mortar between the stones. Again, I'll just do this side. I'm only going to do this front part because I'm going to put a render on this side. So there's a broken render down there, exposing the stones. But I'll do a little bit more. Just talk amongst yourselves. Okay, and then with some water and a washing up sponge, I'll just take the excess off. Oh, get in there. So it's now looking more like a stone wall. So you get the picture. So I'll complete both sides and wait for this to dry, and come back and I'll put my render on. Okay, so my grout isn't quite dry yet, but dry enough to put on my render. You could just leave it like that. You don't necessarily have to put render on, but I've made yet a different colour again, brick coloured grout with water and PVA glue. So I'll put this on as my render that will show the brick coming through the broken render there. I'll put it on quite thick so that as this dries I can cut it to make a sharp edge around there, around the edge of the render, to make it look as though it's fallen off, if you know what I mean. Again, I'll just do this side. That should be enough. So you can see the effect that I'm going for. The render broken off to reveal the stones underneath, and once this dries off a little bit more, I can sharpen the edge, just cut it with a knife really, and then engrave the well, I tell you what, I'll do it and then I'll come back and show you, otherwise I'm going to get tongue-tied. The cracks, that's what I mean. I can engrave the cracks of the render when it's dried off a little bit more. So again, I'll do the same shape the other side, and I'll have to wait overnight probably now for everything to dry, and then I'll come back, and then all we need to do then is put a black wash over the whole lot, and that should be it. So I'll be back presently. So my render has dried now. It's as hard as rock, stone. What I did was, as it was drying, after about an hour or so, I cut with a knife to make a sharp edge, which is what you would expect broken render to look like. So there's a sharp edge there, and then with a sharp knife, just make out the cracks in the render there. So now we've got the brick wall and the render there. So all we need to do now, with some black paint, watered down black paint, then I'll just cover this. Oh, entirely with this. This is going to age it a little. Well, age it a lot, I hope. Yeah, it'd be better if you could see, really. Again, I'll do one side. Okay, so when that's dry now, that will look a lot more weathered and aged. Can't really tell yet until it's dry, really. So again, I'll wait for that to dry. I'll do the other side, wait for it to dry, and come back, and that will be it. That will be finished. Okay, so I let my black wash dry, and then all I did was pick out the cracks with a white dry brushing, just a very light light. So that's the only paint that I've used, just a little bit of white dry brushing. But that's basically the end result. So it looks fairly convincing as render falling off a stone building. Nice sharp edge on the edge of the stone there. So just an idea, if you are making a building, just start it off with a few bits of 2mm cardboard. Make up your building with just ordinary cardboard, and it can turn out to look something a little more realistic. So, okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe and click that like button. You'll be informed when new videos come along. There'll be lots of different ideas and things to do. In the meantime, if you have a go yourself, let me know how you get on. It's a very inexpensive way of doing things. A bag of grout will last you literally months, if you ever finish the bag at all. So, okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching again, and I wish you happy modelling.